Shield Gambits have been a hot topic in the Wizard101 PvP community for some time now, ever since 5th Age PvP came out last year. What's going on, everybody? It's Liam here, and welcome to today's video on the channel. And in today's video, we'll be discussing the teasers of the new Shield Gambits that are coming to the game. Now, obviously, there's only 3 Shield Gambits. That is not changing. It's the same 3 spells we all know and love: Ice Scion, Myth Djinn, and Death Oni. These cards have been changed quite a bit, I would say, in, the course of time, the past year. And I think this next update, they're going to be honestly pretty darn balanced, in my opinion. And we're going to discuss what is all changing going from Live Realm to Test Realm. So I'll throw up the current iteration of the Live Realm Shield Gambit cards right now, just for y'all to look at, and then we'll compare that to the new ones as well that we'll be discussing in this video. Basically, how the new format works, the new Shield Gambit formula, I guess, if you will, it's still hard to set up, 11 pips. It's still easy to set up, like obviously shield over and over. That didn't make any sense, but you know what I mean. Anyways, it's an easy gambit to set up. It's a lot of pips. It's hard to combo with. But however, the damage went down quite a bit. Now, a couple of players suggested this idea recently, and it's kind of nice to see that Kingsisle did actually listen to those players. And personally, I do think this is a pretty good idea for a Shield Gambit, because it felt kind of crappy, when your opponent could just set up a free Gambit and do like 80% of your health bar. It felt pretty crappy, So I think making the Gambit harder to set up and not as, comboable. I don't think that's a word, but I'm going to use it. Comboable, dude. I think that will kind of solidify the Shield Gambits in their own unique way. And they're not going to do as much damage as they did before. Now, let's keep in mind, these are still pretty big hits. We're still looking at like 1800 damage average, almost 2k as well on, the Oni and the Myth Djinn as well. Still some pretty solid hits, right? You don't want to take that unless you can obviously afford to take it. It's still a pretty scary hit. However, it's not going to do as much as before. Also, if you guys are interested in reading a bit more about further detail on Shield Gambits and why in general they are so good, I recommend checking out the Final Bastion article that I believe Polymorph Bandit posted, or was it Shadow? I don't know. They kind of work together. Go check them out. I'll probably link that in the top pinned comment if you want to read an article on why Shield Gambits are so good in general and why they've kind of been, causing a lot of ruckus in the community for a while. Now, with these changes, I'm really curious to see what the community's reaction is to it. Now, personally, again, in my opinion, I think this is a good change. I think them not being comboable is a huge deal, and personally, at least me, in Live Realm and Test Realm, lately, like as in the past 2 weeks, I haven't been struggling very much against the Shield Gambits, right? Both at 9 pips, and especially not at 11 pips in Test Realm with the games I've played. However, I do pack a lot of shield counters, right? I pack like 6 shield counters, and I pack 2 different types of shield counters. So maybe I'm just, playing around it and adapting to the meta. But obviously, at the end of the day, Shield Gambits in general are still by far the easiest Gambit to set up. Like, that is literally a fact. You cannot deny that. Every other Gambit requires, 1 to 6 pips to set up, right? But Shield Gambits, you gain pips while doing it. So it's still pretty easy to set up and stuff like that, but it's very difficult to counter. But you can counter it, obviously, if you have the right cards and if you set your deck pretty well. That's just what I think personally. Again, if y'all struggle with Shield Gambits, let me know in the comments below. And let me know, do you like this change at all? Do you think Kingsisle just needs to do something else, like making Tri-Shields 1 pip? I know a lot of the community asked for that, but Kingsisle just does not want to. Apparently it doesn't follow their audit rules. They also do not want to upset the, the overall PvE casual players with, making Tri-Shields 1 pip, because that would affect them. That would upset them. They don't want to disrupt, a lot more people basically, because at the end of the day, PvP community is like 2% of Wiz or something, 3% of Wiz, around that ballpark. It's very small, so I understand why the devs do not want to make them 1 pip. So again, that's because they don't want to upset the majority, right, of the casual players, and they don't think it follows their audit rules. They would have to make it 1 pip at minus 70 shields, which they think players don't want. So I don't know. Personally, I'm down for either, you know, 1 pip or these current changes. I think these current changes will be good in my opinion. If you set your deck as in run like 2 different types of shield counters, I think you will have no problem beating, you know, shield Gambits. Again, I did all this stuff on a Storm, which is the school that's weakest against shields. That is the hardest one to Storm gets hard countered by shields basically is what I mean. And you know, if you can do that on a Storm, you can do that on anybody basically is my point. So I think players can do it if they just set their deck for it, which obviously is like a whole other, you know, problem. Players really don't like setting their deck, whether it's for shield Gambits, healing, trap stack, blade stack, you know. They just really don't like, you know, when stuff is really easy to do, but very difficult to counter, you know, man. But I really hope that this debate comes to an end. You know, it's been going on for so long now, ever since Dual Money was 7 pips, 9 pips, now 11 pips, and the damage changed like 4 times, you know. I really hope that we can put this behind us and, you know, move on from the shield Gambit meta. What I will say though is I would like to see Kingsisle buff up the other Gambits, like, you know, maybe Trap, Blade, or Overtime Gambits, make them a bit better, you know. For example, back when Oni's Forge and Meltdown, you know, were like 2 or 3 separate heals, like, you could actually use those viably, but now you just can't use them because you lose out on so much tempo, and it's like 6 pips, which is a lot. So I would really like to see them do something with HOTS and DOTS ramps in general, and maybe something with, you know, Blade and Trap Gambits as well. But that is my opinion, y'all. Again, looking forward to see what you have to say down there in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you found it useful, a like, rating, and a sub. It's always appreciated. And yeah, without further ado, I will see you in the next one. Thank y'all for watching, and take care, y'all.